siren.
Sorry. I guess we're not here right now. All right, so John, can you say a couple of words to everyone?
Yeah, let's do it.
We the people will not comply. 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 We the people will not comply.
Say it louder.
He needs a bullhorn. Save your chest.
Representing you in court today. I have read your stories, I have looked at your legal claims, and you have been treated so shabbily, not only by the city, but by all the federal judges who have examined your cases. And I am so glad that finally today we got a hearing in front of judges who heard everything that we wanted to say. Or watching in the courtroom, I'm sure you saw that the judges had their ears wide open. Yes. Judge Carlson, he was the one on the left. Yes. He was asking all kinds of questions. Jacobs, that Ms. Paulson could not answer. Questions about religious persecution, reinstatement, the codes that say that you can't be reemployed because you're problem employees because of your religion, and she had no answers to any of that. Praise God for that. Judge Lee, she was the judge in the center. Judge Perez, she was the judge on the right. They had some tough questions for us, but by the end of the hearing, I think it was pretty clear. They understood exactly what has been done to you and why it was so wrong. I just want to praise God that we had a good day in court today. And here's what I need all of you to do. I need you to go home and pray tonight. Yes. Pray for those three judges. Yes. Pray that God will move them, that they will be moved to write an opinion that vindicates you, that grants justice to every single one of you, and that shows the city what it means to have free exercise of religion in this town.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
We're going to take one family selfie, okay? Turn around. We're going to take one family. Mike, if you get over here with the camera so we can take a one family selfie. Because these are our bodies. That's Whose bodies?
Our bodies.
Whose bodies?
Our bodies.
Dion's the selfie expert.
Yeah, that's right, man. Whose bodies? Our bodies. Our bodies. Let me get home and let's go pray.
There's one more thank you. You can't forget. Thank you to all of you. You have persevered. You didn't walk away. You didn't give up on your religious conviction. You didn't give up this fight. All of that leads to today, and if we have to move forward to, some other place in Washington, we will do that too. And thanks for staying with it, everyone.
All right. I'm live on Instagram. So.
We're taking selfies with the Lord, everybody. We're taking selfies with the Lord.
Lord. Thank you for so much. I'm so glad.
Did you guys hear it?
You're so welcome.
Every email we get from you,
sorry
we
for it.
care.
It's okay. We
Never get
understand.
tired.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
So glad you can make it.
Thank you.
And have somebody hear it.
And your name?
My name's John Gilmore.
Yes.
And, it's things that they were saying. I was really involved in the battle to protect the religious exemption. When
Free alive! We the people will not comply. Come on, let's do
I like that accent.
We the people will not comply. We the people will not comply. Come on.
I know, I tried.
it's clear.
WhatsApp group.
This case is about fighting New York City with respect to its denials of religious.
Everybody, if there's any independent media or media here,
Religious
now's the
objectors
time
to New York
ask those
City's vaccine
questions.
mandate.
So if you're independent media or regular media, now's the time to ask the questions.
Okay, so you were arguing this case today in oral argument.
Mr. Bursch, who's right beside me, did the argument today. I argued 4 other times in this case before him.
And this was 3 cases combined, is that correct?
Correct.
Right, and they were all arguing for religious exemptions against the mandate denying
Correct.
people religious exemptions.
Correct.
Why is this case continuing? Some people don't understand why this case is continuing when they're rescinding the mandate on Friday. Can you explain why it's
Sure,
continuing?
because people remain terminated. The city is not reinstating them. It's not giving them back pay. But moreover, these people have black marks right now on their records. They may not be employable. So New York City is not doing the right thing. If they wanted to do the right thing, they would acknowledge that constitutional rights here have been violated. They would reinstate every single one of these people who has been unconstitutionally terminated with back pay and remove any negative indications from their records.
How many people are represented in all of these cases that were heard today?
We don't even have an exact number of what the class would look like, but there are thousands.
Okay. What do you expect the next steps to be?
We await a decision from this court. We hope we'll get one fairly expediently, and we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you for talking.
You're very welcome.
No como el señor Adams está diciendo para reaplicar. No.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Carly, for being my pleasure. One of my sons is
Pido a Diosito que nos dé la gran cicatriz, que es lo único, que es el único que puede dar eso.
Good job. Way to get the boots on.
You could just give me a little introduction and what happened today and what you
Yes.
expect.
I'm John Bursch with Alliance Defending Freedom. I was here on behalf of all the hardworking New York City public employees who were terminated from their jobs, forced to resign because they refused to violate their religious convictions and take a vaccine that they thought was immoral. We had a wonderful hearing today in front of the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. We had 3 judges who were very attentive to our case. One in particular really grilled the attorney for the city for all the terrible ways that they had treated these city employees, how they had been made pariahs because of their religious beliefs. And even the other two judges who started off somewhat skeptical by the end seemed to be coming around. They understood that these employees had been mistreated and that this wasn't just a practical problem, it was a constitutional problem, one that the federal courts should redress. And so now we'll just wait for an opinion, and we'll hope that the judges rule in a way that will vindicate everyone's constitutional rights, and we look forward to that day. If it doesn't happen from this court, we will be taking it to the U.S. Supreme Court.
And how long do you think that we should have to wait for a ruling based on today?
I'm guessing it'll be a couple of weeks. It could be anywhere from tomorrow to 3 months from now, but a couple of weeks is my best guess.
All right, thank you so much for all your hard work. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This is cool. This is a wireless.
Yeah.
Oh no, you stuck it in my pocket.
Stuck it in here.
Got it. Oh, that was clever. Very nice to meet you.
My name is Robert. I'm a teacher. Just want to say thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sticking with it.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Right. I was wondering, God, but this is
Absolutely.
Individuals, and it's amazing. And then he goes, and then after that he goes, where's the press? You have minimal press turnout today, but we got the people.
What's the next step for the stars?
So we're live in front of the courthouse here. Do you want to explain why you came out to this event today?
Well, my name is Janine, and I'm a plaintiff in the New Yorkers for Religious Liberties action. It's one of three that got combined here today at the Thurgood Marshall Courthouse. I'm here supporting freedom for religion for everybody, not just myself. It's our constitutional right. Once they start removing your religious freedoms, they dictate how you can and cannot worship and what you can and cannot believe. And that's a God-given right. Whatever religion and God it is still a given right to every individual. Once government takes that away and tells you that it's invalid, your beliefs are invalid, then they can just do anything with your religion and eventually erase it. So we're here to fight for our freedoms, our constitutional freedoms.
Do you want to say anything about how this is affecting you personally?
Well, one of the reasons we're here is because the city, when they terminated people who did not want to get the vaccine for religious reasons. They put a misconduct as the reason for termination. Now, misconduct, if you're in a job that you're fingerprinted for, a cop, a policeman, a teacher, social worker, it goes on your record as a black mark, and then those records get sent to the FBI as a black mark for misconduct. So anyone who didn't get vaccinated has a record with the FBI with their fingerprints for misconduct, which is usually reserved for something heinous and like awful. And I think that's so terrible because that prevents so many people, including myself, from seeking employment in other areas, because if I get fingerprinted, it's going to come up that I have a black mark on my record. And that's awful to do to human beings who did not deserve this.
Thanks for commenting.
Oh my God.
I don't just understand that I have to but for you to say that that's allowed to protect no, but how come she can say what she wants to say on that broadcast, but the gentleman, I can show you a clip, and you're going to win it. He said, I just want to thank Jesus. Why were they not on fire? Why is that on fire?
They were databasing our DNA through COVID tests. But today, the great John Burst from Alliance Defending Freedom, who flew into New York City, he argued on our behalf. And seriously, it was mic drop. It was mic drop. He's phenomenal. He joined the case recently and is now the lead attorney to make arguments. And I've seen a lot of great arguments from Sir John Gibson, from Barry Black, amazing attorneys. But what John did, every judge was silent at the end. There was about 40 minutes of debate and argument. At the end, John stopped all of them. He answered every question and ended it. And listen, it doesn't always end that way in court. Sometimes it's the judge that has the last word. Sometimes it's multiple judges. I've seen judges laugh at attorneys, okay? There was no laughing at there was no laughing at John Burst. There was none of that gamesmanship. And as John Burst said on these steps before, the justices' ears were wide open. They were taking it in. They were asking good questions. New York City's counsel, Miss Paulson, I'm sorry, she did not do well. She was definitely schooled by John Burst today. And just like John said to all of us and everybody here, we want to say, everybody needs to pray. We need to pray for the wisdom of these justices, for their hearts to be touched by whatever higher power that is near and dear to them. And who knows, we might win here. If we don't win, we're going to D.C. We're going to Scopes. Thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll pray. We pray. Because if we don't win, all right, if we don't win, that's God's plan. And it doesn't mean we didn't win. It just means we didn't win this battle. That's
Well,
all
how
that
did
it
we
is.
not win after all this happened, right? Like even Mayor Adams lifted the mandate.
They were trying to find a way for us to lose. They were trying to find a way for us to lose. Man, did John beat that down. I mean, it was really remarkable. I'm actually going to, I believe his arguments are all on video on YouTube and the Second Circuit channel. So I'm going to point people to that on teachersforchoice.org as well as childrenselfdefense.org and the Defender, because people really should watch it. It was, they give these attorneys just a few minutes to argument. He opened up and said, I have 3 minutes, to argue. I mean, it was like 40 minutes though, because, so even though it's supposed to be this quick in and out thing, the judges were asking questions. He was going back and forth, and it was amazing. It was, 16 months in the making, millions of dollars coming in to make this happen, fundraising, attorneys working on contingency, not getting paid, people coming out and praying, all these wonderful, amazing people who came out to support. Struggle continues, Battling for civil rights is not easy. It's not quick. And nobody should be disappointed if we lose today. This is part of it. When people were in Montgomery, Alabama, and Mississippi, and when you think of the civil rights struggle that happened to Black Americans in this country, what we've been through is tough. But come on, we got to struggle. Civil rights is about struggle, and that's what we're in now.
We're not losing. They have no argument. What's their argument? The vaccine doesn't stop transmission. What's their argument? Why did they treat us this way? They knew that it didn't.
I'm telling you, though, two judges were really looking, really trying.
Well, I guess, I'm not going to make a comment about that.
But yeah. They ended up quiet at the end. They just said, thank you, Mr. Bursch. And then at the end, John said, and with that, I want the Kane and Kyle plaintiffs to be reinstated and the injunction for the rest of the plaintiffs granted. Thank you very much. And they all left. It was pretty cool. Yeah. It's a great day, We've had a lot of horrible days. We had a lot of amazing things. Coach, do you remember when we had 3,000 people out there in Foley Square, September 2021?
I remember that day. That was the day the day before I was supposed to be terminated, and I remember leaving. It was on the 27th.
I think that's right, the 27th. Del Big Tree ended up ending.
I took as soon as I left work, I ran.
You were there.
I want to apply. I said, I'm not applying for anything. I'm not applying for anything.
Doesn't matter. They were fighting for people to get their jobs back. Our unions didn't mention one thing. All they said was, we're going to make sure that salaries so they're done.
Power.
They're not screening us out because they don't know what they're practicing. They don't
But I don't feel like a boy. She said, not he said, she said, well, you all work for us. And that's that.
What are you doing on Fox News? That's the no. We don't go on no Fox News. I'm going to say that.
I talked about
I told Joel online, more of us have to.
Kindergarten first grade.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You were so awesome. Thank you. I think they want another picture of Michael King.
Where's Michael?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Michael?
Thank you all for coming here. Yeah, let's do a photo.
Let's do it quick because we're in a rush to leave.
I'm free. I just defend religious liberty pro bono. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah.
Can you take a picture?
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, who wants to take a picture of us? All right, somebody wants to take a picture of us?
Yeah, we got Ingrid, come on in.
All
We got
right.
some plaintiffs here.
Okay. Smile. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, guys.
Actually,
fabulous. Almost like
I recognize your name because I typed
you have
it. You're welcome. I think I went really well.
energized to keep up with what you're doing.
Barry and I work at a
Oh, no, no,
He's with the Lions.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And the audio will be available on the Second Circuit's website.
Oh yes,
I
share it like
I thought it was video as well.
You know, I'm not sure. I think they just do audio.
Yeah, they do have a YouTube channel. I'd love to.
Talk to Barry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I'm here with Michael Kane, founder of Teachers for Choice, and also a plaintiff in one of the cases. There were 3 cases combined that were there were arguments for here today, but you are the named plaintiff of in the Kane case.
Correct.
So why don't you just explain to people a little bit about what happened here today?
Yeah, so we've been in court for 16 months. Children's Health Defense has been with us from the beginning. Then Nelson Madden Black, another law firm, came in, and now today, for the first time, John Bursch with Alliance Defending Freedom has come down, and he argued in front of the 3-justice panel today, and oh my God, it was unbelievable. I thanked him, and I just told him he was almost like an unbelievable rapper. Like, he's got this cadence and this rhythm, and like, he's just so rapid, but so clear and cogent. You better be energized to keep up with him, right? And the justices were. There was not, the judges, and John said this, their ears were wide open. They were. 2 of them are Biden appointees. One is a George G.W. Bush appointee, and oftentimes conservative appointees seem to hear our arguments more. The Biden appointees were asking good questions. Their ears were wide open, and by the end, they were silent. They were silent. John answered all of their questions. He ended the whole thing and ended by saying the Kane and Kyle plaintiffs need to be reinstated, and the rest of the plaintiffs need their injunction granted. Thank you. And all the justices went. And it ended right there. It was really amazing, because I've seen judges laugh at attorneys or make sure they had the last word, and but that wasn't it. No one was having the last word over John Bursch today. He was phenomenal. It's just amazing that him and Alliance Defending Freedom have pro bono donated their time to our case. Just phenomenal.
Some people, so we just had the announcement from the mayor, from City Hall, that they're going to rescind the vaccination mandate for city workers on Friday the 10th. And so some people are wondering, why is this case continuing? What is the goal now? What's going to happen for people?
Yeah, John was arguing that quite a bit in court to the justices today, and did so great. No one's being reinstated. No one is getting their job back. The mandate can come back at any time. The city reserves the right to bring it back, and we and our attorneys view that clearly as an ongoing constitutional violation. And the city is trying to say, well, the cases are moot. There's no more mandates. See, I got rid of the mandates 48 hours before John Bursch flew into New York City to argue like this, so there is no case anymore. And that's not the case. As a matter of fact, the courts have pretty consistently and clearly looked down upon this 11th hour attempt to ensure justice isn't served, right? But that's what the city was trying to do. They were trying to say, this is all moot, this is all gone, nothing to see here anymore. But until we're reinstated, until we get back pay, until there's some assurances that we can even apply for our jobs, that's one thing I was unaware of until Attorney John Bursch brought it up today. There's a lot of teachers who were trying to apply for their jobs. They're locked out of their accounts. They're locked out of their emails. They can't get access to materials that they need in order to apply for jobs. Another thing that came up, which was the most shocking thing I heard today, and I got to look into this. If you refuse to get the vaccine, as I did, I declined, and then you were removed from your job, John Bursch said on the record today, your fingerprints were sent to the FBI. So as a teacher, I was required 15, 16 years ago to take fingerprints that were sent that are either in New York City or in Albany, and I consented to that. But because I did not choose and I did not consent to this vaccine, according to an attorney that represents me in this case, it's likely my fingerprints were sent to the FBI. Why? And they even admitted, the city admitted that this had nothing to do with any misbehavior on our part. That's not what it was. We just weren't in compliance. Why the hell are you getting the FBI involved? What is that about? So I think that's something we all now actually need to look into. All of us who declined COVID vaccination, and find out, did you send our fingerprints to the FBI? Why? Why would you do that? Under what doctrine, under what basis, or what insanity do you think you had the right to do that? That could be, in my opinion, that could be a court case in and of itself, but one thing at a time. Oh, wow. We broadcasted court proceedings with this dude before. He came down and we'd live stream it. We called it Democracy in the Park when they had us locked out of here because we're dirty, disgusting, unvaccinated people or whatever. We would just go in the park and we would broadcast the arguments in the park. Yeah.
What are you hearing from teachers, and what are you recommending to teachers in terms of are people applying? The mayor has said, well, you can apply for open positions now.
So yeah, no, that's a great question. We don't have real guidance yet from our attorneys because they've had all hands on deck getting prepared for today, but we will soon. It won't be legal advice, but it'll be guidance because the union ain't giving you guidance. DOE ain't giving you guidance. I talked to a teacher yesterday, said she was on the phone for 4 hours with the union, with the New York City Department of Education, said, what do I do to reapply? The union said, call the DOE. The DOE said, call the union. I don't know what to do. I mean, that's what we have with Mike Mulgrew. He should be ashamed of himself. Mike Mulgrew, when he goes to tell us what just happened, he freaking copy and pasted Mayor Adams' press release. Good job, labor leader. Whereas listen, my firefighter brothers and sisters, you know, they feel a little differently. But Andy Ansbro got out in front of this, and he's fighting, and he's trying to get people reinstated. The firefighter, but the real truth is, Bravest for Choice made that happen. If they weren't doing that, if they weren't pushing, you wouldn't see Andy doing that. But unfortunately, Mike Mulgrew is just pathetic. He capitulated completely. And Mayor Adams, I mean, in my opinion, is near criminal. That's why Chad LaViglia is suing Mayor Adams for millions of dollars personally, saying, you know, this mandate is illegal. And so we just had a slew of lawsuits coming at Adams, a bunch of brilliant minds that actually have principles in their lives, in the attorneys that are fighting. And I feel good. You know, I feel like we have the momentum. There's a chance we win today, but if we lose, I still feel good. We're probably going to D.C. We'll probably go to the Supreme Court with this case. Yeah.
And what about the children? What about the children who are being forced to have vaccines? I'd like to know your opinion.
So in terms of the COVID vaccine, no child in New York State or New York City is required to take the COVID vaccine to go to school. But as I think you know, in 2019, the religious exemption of vaccination for kids was repealed. That's an ongoing constitutional violation in crisis in New York, California, Maine. I think also there's a number of states. Connecticut, I think too. There's a Mississippi, West Virginia, right? So no, we're well aware of that. I was there in 2019 in Albany, fighting with John Gilmore and Rita Palma, and following their lead. Now they're coming after the adults. Now So, but that's how it goes. If you don't stand up and fight, they try to steamroll over you. But we're fighting, and we have great people here today fighting. Exactly. Right. They come after the kids. It's not going to just stay there. Right after that happened, right after, what was it, June 13th, 2019, right? That horrible day, 7 hours, they repealed the religious exemption. The next month, I put up a petition on change.org. It's still there. New York teachers against vaccine mandates for educators. And on there, I said I'm in opposition to any vaccine mandates for educators 6 months before anybody heard of COVID-19. How did I know that? John Gilmore was telling me what Jeff Dinowitz was talking about behind the scenes in Albany. It was being discussed. I mean, it wasn't public, but we knew they were talking about. Even on the floor of the assembly, when during argument, someone was saying to Dinowitz, well, why are you forcing the kids? What about the teachers? And Dinowitz said, you're giving me great ideas. So we knew it was coming. And people said to me then, Mike, what vaccine are they going to force on us? The flu vaccine, the MMR vaccine? But who knew it was the one that didn't exist yet? Who knew it was the crisis that was to come? So this is just like you said, they target the children, then they target the teachers, then they target. It moves. It definitely moves. And Big Pharma makes very clear what they want. They want an injected world. They want a world that you can't access without injection. That's what they want. They're going to continue to fight for it. But we're going to fight against it.
Carlin, obedient workers.
Obedient workers, that's it, right.
George
Absolutely.
Carlin, we love you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
How are you?
You're the best girl here. You and Jay.
We have to. No, you guys, I can't blame. I can't be complaining too much. How are you? You good?
And it those who
We have such a strong case that you can't believe it right now. I documented
but y'all that's 8 and 8.
and then I'm gonna find you on WhatsApp so I can send
This is wrong what happened, and I think that even the unvaccinated should stand with the people's choice that we should all support free medical informed consent. We should respect people's religious beliefs, and even if you wanted to take the vaccine and you chose to take it, you should stand against forcing anyone to take an experimental treatment against their own will. So it's sad that this has happened, and it's sad that people, we speak about bullies. They see a bully, you stand aside and you watch a bully take advantage of someone, you're just as guilty in your complacency. And pretty much what has happened is the world has stood by and watched injustice being done unto us, and many people have just stood by and done nothing. And to me, if we stood united for righteousness, none of this would happen in the first place. So it saddens me. I'm still waiting to wake up and realize this is a dream.
So what do you think about the announcement about them rescinding the mandate? Does that affect you? Does that change what you're doing?
What I believe is, for people who have 20 years, 15 years, whatever amount of years, the fact that we have to go and reapply for a job we didn't leave in the first place, I have a very serious problem with that. I think that we should be reinstated and we should be made whole with back pay because we did nothing wrong. Even people who are accused of serious violations, they get due process and they cannot be terminated unless they have due process and they go through whatever hearings and trials, and there's a final determination to prove that they did some type of violation that is worthy of them being terminated. None of that happened with any of us, and now you're telling me that I should reapply, and therefore, because I have a certain number of years of seniority, my salary, where do I start back? Where is my tenure? Will I have, what does that mean that I have to reapply? What if there are no more vacancies because you already hired other people? So I think that, and what saddens me as a teacher, I hear the union for the policemen, for the firemen, for the sanitation department have come out and spoken and said that their workers should be reinstated and made whole. And what saddens me is that my union, the UFT, which did not fight for us in the first place, has not made any such statements, and on the contrary, have sent out messages pretty much going along with what the mayor said, asking members to start reapplying. To me, the union, the UFT, should have more integrity than that. I'm saddened, I'm ashamed. I used to be proud of being a UFT member, and I'm actually ashamed. I think Michael Mulgrew is disgraceful, and it saddens me. And it saddens me that my fellow colleagues and members, that you have eyes to see that you should be able to stand up and support your unvaccinated brothers and sisters, because we did nothing wrong. Throughout this time, we're not the ones getting sick. How can you take a vaccine that will supposedly protect you, and yet you're the ones getting sick after you've taken how many vaccines and boosters? So this whole thing, it makes no sense, right? The mayor himself said that nothing about this mandate makes sense, but yet we have to keep doing it. So it saddens my spirit that we have to go through this, but at the same time, I have joy in my spirit because I know I've done nothing wrong. I'm at peace with myself. I'm at peace with God, and God is good. Despite whatever hardships we had to face, God has provided me with food to eat every day. I have joy in my spirit. I have peace in my heart. And I'll end there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for talking with me.
And then
I just and the reason I decided, I had a broken foot, even if I can, I really don't I would like to get